Briefing the media on their discussions. Let's listen in.
The sector in this area is feeling the shock, particularly here in the Western Cape. This points to the multidimensional negative impacts of the prevailing drought and the negative effects it has on our developmental aspirations. Government can therefore not sit and idle while the situation deteriorates. To this effect, the Inter-Ministerial Task Team on Drought and Water Scarcity, which was established in 2015, has been actively championing integrated efforts to ensure that the country responds effectively to the drought situation. This IMTT reports and provides updates to the relevant portfolio committees regularly. The IMTT has been sized with the task of engaging various stakeholders on issues of drought. I must indicate that our meeting of the 30th of January this year followed a number of such meetings and consultations. These meetings are primarily geared to devise measures that can ensure heightened national coordination in response to the drought across the country, with special emphasis on the city of Cape Town. Ladies and gentlemen, since January this year, we have already met twice as the IMTT to receive reports on the status of drought situation, considering integrated measures being put in place to mitigate the situation and also to provide political leadership on heightened measures necessary to arrest the situation. In both meetings, I must indicate that we were joined by some of the MECs of COCTA from the provinces, and these MECs shed light about the situation in their respective provinces and the work each one is doing to mitigate the impact of drought on communities and on all sectors affected. These measures are a testimony that government values human lives and places the interest and welfare of the people above all else. As we know, water is a constitutional right of all South Africans, and thus these challenges of drought are threatening to make it difficult for government to realize this important provision in our Constitution. Even as we are sized with the challenges of drought, it is important to know that there are three categories of our people that must be served equitably as part of the transformation agenda. Here we are referring to those that are yet to receive water, those that have just received water, albeit minimal, and the third category is a category of those that have access to water. They are all looking at us to provide this service as a constitutional obligation. Above all that have been said, the drought situation cannot be examined in isolation from the primary development challenges facing this country. In particular, it is critical to analyze the daily development challenges which either increase vulnerability to drought or increase its severity, and which are the factors we as the collective leadership must work tirelessly in a concerted manner to address. These factors border on institutional and resource conditions of our municipalities, as well as the challenges around intergovernmental relations in the context of planning and delivery of services. The cases of all the affected areas are clearly an indication of the need for a national coordinated approach and response to this unfolding challenge. These will have to take into account the national drought forecast and indicators which point to the fact that summer rainfall areas have also not sufficiently recovered from the drought situation which started in 2014. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, the forecast systems indicate that affected provinces may still experience drier than normal conditions. The standard precipitation index for the 24-month period indicates areas of mild to extreme drought categories across South Africa as a result of 4 consecutive seasons of low rainfall. The South African Weather Services indicate that 2017 was the worst year in terms of rainfall, as almost the whole country received below normal rainfall. This denotes that the country as a whole has not recovered from the 2014 drought effect. Of course, with the Western Cape province experiencing the worst drought in years. This challenge of drought shows a decline in various human activities such as farming, irrigation, or domestic uses of water are also affected, and this might have a negative impact, and subsequently this might exacerbate poverty, inequality, as well as unemployment. Notable, ladies and gentlemen, is also that even though the month of January 2018 received reasonable amounts of rain, this did not cover the whole country, as it was limited to central and eastern parts of the country. The report that the IMTT received thus far pointed and also indicated that the situation is deteriorating, with dam levels falling week on week, and the current national dam levels depict a very, very unfavorable picture. As on the 7th of February 2018, Eastern Cape recorded 60.7%, Gauteng 94.6%, Free State 64.9%, Mpumalanga 76.9%, KwaZulu-Natal 52.6%, Northwest 67.4%, Northern Cape 76.2%, Limpopo 65.3%, Western Cape coming at the lowest at 23.7%, and that puts our national dam level at 59.6%. Now, fellow South Africans, while we acknowledge that the drought has become a huge challenge, a number of measures have been implemented nationally, and to a large extent, some of these measures are starting to bear fruits. Those measures include issuing of early warning messages on a regular basis, drilling and equipping of boreholes across provinces, the application of water restrictions to regulate use of water, the provision of animal feed and fodder, water tankering in areas of severe need, the promotion of the use of drought-resistant cultivars, reduction of water usage by industries and other users such as crop farmers, change of timing of cultivation and irrigation, desalination projects kickstarted, water conservation and demand management being effected, and reuse of water as a natural resource being optimized. In addition, as reported in our last briefing, an amount of 74.8 million was given to the Western Cape province last year in August to deal with the situation. The only challenge that has been picked up here is the slow pace of using the allocated funding that are geared towards elevating the impact of drought on particular sectors. At this stage, COGTA, through the National Disaster Management Center, is currently in the process of considering a request from the Northern Cape and Eastern Cape provinces for funding of responses and recovery measures. Currently, I must indicate that efforts are underway to classify the drought as a national disaster. This process, I can confidently indicate that will be finalized on or before the 14th of February this year. This, among other things, will legally assign the responsibility to the national executive to coordinate the disaster, while the declaration is being considered to be finalized within a period of a month. The declaration will empower the minister or his delegate to issue regulations or directives in dealing with the drought situation. We are convinced that this will enhance current measures to deal with the disaster. It will also ensure that provinces, all the 9 provinces, which are not currently declared, can be covered through measures to prevent and mitigate against the drought situation. I must also indicate that in 2015, the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, which is an infrastructure agent falling under the Department of Cooperative Governance, entered into a memorandum of agreement with National Treasury's Office of the Chief Procurement Officer on framework contract. The objective of these MOUs is for MISA to roll out infrastructure procurement and delivery standards as well as framework contracts for infrastructure goods and services in local government. MISA has prioritized framework contracts for water infrastructure goods and services in the light of the current drought. This will contribute towards addressing challenges within the supply chain management in most municipalities. And I must indicate this is one area that we have identified as a weakness, why some of the municipalities are unable to spend the allocated money within the prescribed period. This is one of the causes that we are trying to address by this intervention. But also, municipalities will also save time by avoiding to restart of procurement processes each time they need to purchase infrastructure goods and services. Going forward, the IMTT will regularly consider reports received from a National Joint Disaster Coordination Committee on measures being put in place to improve coordination and deployment of resources for response and recovery from the drought disaster, and regularly report to the Portfolio Committee, as was the case yesterday. We presented a comprehensive report yesterday to the Portfolio Committee. The Department of Water and Sanitation will continue to monitor the levels of the 214 major dams, as this information is extremely critical in understanding the situation around availability of water in the systems. The IMTT will continue to communicate through various platforms and channels to inform communities about the effects of climate change, drought, and provide water-saving conservation tips in this particular information. These communication messages on drought are disseminated with the intention, of course, of educating and creating the necessary awareness amongst citizens. The role played by media in promoting our integrated public awareness, education, and advocacy program is commendable, and it will definitely go a long way in assisting to effect the necessary change. In conclusion, it should be put on record that since the outbreak of this drought, the leadership of the country, the broader citizenry, and civil society formations have pulled together to save this important resource. To this effect, we are making progress as water usage shows a marked reduction, and this is definitely commendable and shows that if we work together, nothing is impossible. In the same context, government appeals to all South Africans and our visitors to help in saving water. We request all of us here today to continue playing our part to save water, and also urge our constituencies and communities to do likewise. As South Africans, we are stronger when we are tested, and together we can prevail over this natural challenge. Working together, we can save water. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. We are going to start taking questions from Pretoria. You indicate who you are and the name of media house you represent. Pretoria.
Good morning, it's Anton Meyer from Pretoria FM. Minister van Rooyen, just on that national disaster, what is the requirements for you to declare it a national disaster? Is there anything that should happen before you can declare it as a national disaster? Thank you.
That's all from Pretoria. Back to you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Cape Town. Okay. Let's start from you.
Minister, thank you so much. RT from ENCA. You mentioned yesterday in the committee meeting as well as today the importance of communication being centralized